Holy Titanic! Just as a Pokemon pirating plan is prevented by Ash and his friends, catastrophe strikes the St. Anne. The cruise ship capsizes with them trapped on board. Team Rocket also faces the same horrible fate, the same horrible fate, the same horrible fate.
Jessie, James, and Meowth, collectively known in the Pokemon anime as Team Rocket, have been the consistent foes of Ash Ketchum and his friends just about every week for the last 20 years. They have followed these kids around the world in hopes to capture Ash's unusually powerful Pikachu, and have failed to achieve this goal every time they've tried. However, there are several examples where Team Rocket and the twerps, as Team Rocket calls them, go through similar, if not identical, traumas. These incidents of proximity allow for deeper exploration of the characters that make up Team Rocket. Now, some might say that complexity in these villains is far-fetched, but I'm about to show you just 3 episodes from the anime where we see Team Rocket behave in ways that aren't easily predicted. The members of Team Rocket are much more complex than first impressions would suggest, which provide depth, not change. First, we'll look at one of the show's earliest episodes, Pokemon Shipwreck. Due to events from the previous episode, both the heroes and villains find themselves stuck in a sunken ship. Initially, when they meet each other, they start fighting again, almost as if on instinct. The more they battle, however, the more they put themselves in danger. Misty, apparently the only character with common sense, points this out, ends the battle, and brings both teams to a truce. Admittedly, Team Rocket doesn't have that much to do here, but we do get to see them follow the heroes, get bossed around by Misty, and nearly drown several times in the process. It's worth noting that they don't ever try to double-cross their enemies in this episode, but the twerps leave them to die twice. These kids aren't just inconsiderate to their enemies, they're inconsiderate to their friends. I found it funny when, in the second season's The Stun-Spore Detour, Misty remembers to take off Ash's jacket, but forgets to take off Tracy's headband after both fall into a Vileplume. Both of them are sick, but it's clear that one is more important to the other. I mean, why is she putting a wet rag over a headband anyway? My point here is that when Jessie suffers
the same horrible fate,
Meowth and James bend over backward just to get Jessie an apple. It's not as important as they think it is, but the gesture is still a nice one. All the characters are lined up to where Misty can again be a dominant force. When she's by herself, looking for the weed that will cure her friends, she proves herself to be very capable, very clever, and very compassionate. James and Meowth do all they can to take the weed from Misty, but their hearts are touched when she simply leaves it for them, saying to her new Poliwag,
"So I think they deserve a break for once, don't you?"
This goodwill between them remains for the duration of the episode. Jessie, of course, does not see this goodwill firsthand, and so she goes to battle the twerps at their weakest point. When she has to battle a recovered Ash, it is telling that neither James and Meowth nor Misty participate in the battle.
Wanna crawl under this rock?
Yeah.
There is an understanding between these 3 characters that Jessie cannot begin to fathom. As James and Meowth drag her away, James tells her,
I think what you really need, Jessie, is something that'll cure a terminal case of ingratitude.
This bug will attempt to bite in the 3rd season. That Johto Journeys episode is Forest Grumps, and it's my favorite of these 3 episodes. When an Ursaring rampage splits up our heroes and villains, Jessie once again calls for a temporary truce between her, Ash, and Brock.
Let's hold the hostility and order a temporary truce. I said truce, not surrender!
This is her first real chance at seeing how her enemies live. The first thing she notices is their concern for Misty. Despite several examples of concern in the past, Jessie says to herself,
Well, I wonder if James and Meowth are as worried about me.
They aren't this time, as James and Meowth are once again paired up with Misty. In light of the Stun-Spore Detour, it would seem that these 3 are more comfortable with each other, which is why they can have bouts of
1, 2, 3! The odd finger wins!
Misty shares food with them in much the same way Brock shares food with Jessie. James and Meowth greatly appreciate this, but not to the degree that Jessie appreciates it. After this first direct act of kindness towards her from the enemy, she goes into a deep reflection.
What am I doing with my life?
Recently, I've begun to fantasize a version of the show where Jessie and James become good guys and actually join Ash and Pikachu as companions and friends. If that character arc were to ever happen, it would be here, lost in the forest with the twerps. But after Jesse's reflection, there is a line of dialogue that directly defines Jesse's character.
Sorry, but I can't let anything stand in the way of my dream.
Capturing Pikachu might be foolish, stupid, and impossible, but this one dream is what Jesse drives to, and the rest of Team Rocket does as well. They can develop complexly, but they can never change. Towards the end of Forest Grumps, all of the Pokemon are beautifully used in true unison to escape the dangers of everyone's
Same horrible fate.
and a celebration together takes place after that. But the temporary truce is now officially over, and a quick battle has Team Rocket blasting off again. At the very end, Jessie says,
I've suddenly come to the realization that my life is unhappy because of the two of you.
This line is both comedic, tragic, and necessary. They, as characters, aren't bad guys. I have meticulously shown that they're not evil. They're just antagonists. They are antagonists, designed to always be there. Unless the writers decide to jump the shark and actually have them become good, they will always be the antagonists. They'll be there longer than Brock, longer than Misty, and I love them for it. My name is NamaTheNerd. Peace in Christ, and imagine on.
This is my end-screen song. It won't last for very long, so click a video or maybe subscribe or comment